Yo, what's up YouTube? You're with gothatfunk, and this is a video response to my friend the Stoned Commander and his recent video called Fatso and the Pedophiles, which I will obviously link in the description box below. The first half of the video talks about how seriously overweight kids in America are now at risk of being taken away from their parents by the government. And Stone Commander was asking if people thought that that was such a good idea. And SC, I really have a lot of sympathy with your point of view on this one. I'm acquainted with quite a few people here on YouTube who have said in videos that they feel that if a child allows their kid to become clinically obese, that that parent is guilty of child abuse. Now, I'm going to be speaking from a purely parental point of view myself, and all of these opinions of mine are going to be based on instinct and based on emotion, not based so much on any kind of logical evaluation of the overall situation or in any kind of research. So my opinions need to be sort of, viewed through that lens. But basically, I can't see allowing your child to become overweight as abuse. If we have to put some kind of criminalistic label on it, I would prefer to call that neglect than abuse. Now you might say to me, Paul, you're splitting hairs. It's still wrong no matter what the fuck you call it. And I would agree that it's wrong. But I wouldn't necessarily agree that it's okay to take a kid away from its parents for that. And let me discuss why. Um, First of all, anytime a family's being assessed and there's a determination about whether or not a parent should be allowed to raise its own child or their own child, um, is because the child's at some sort of imminent danger. The child should either be suffering some kind of emotional or physical abuse for there to be any kind of consideration about removing the kid from the parents. And frankly, the situation must be dire to remove a kid from its parents. Now, in the case of obesity, it's a bit of a trickier situation because chances are high that a child who is seriously overweight does not feel in themselves that they are being abused. So ripping that child away from its parents for their own good isn't really going to make an awful lot of sense to that kid. If the child has his or her material needs met, emotional needs satisfied, removing them from their parents, in my opinion, puts at more risk of doing emotional and psychological damage to the child than being fat probably does. Now let's be honest about it. It can't be easy growing up a fat kid. They're going to take a lot of teasing and stuff in school, and it's a statistical probability that if you're fat throughout your life up till the age of 10, you're probably going to be fat or seriously overweight for your whole life. That's a statistical probability, but it's not an inevitability, okay? It's also statistically likely that if you're overweight throughout your whole life, you're going to have a certain set of health problems that people who are more physically fit might not be so prone to. Things like diabetes and heart disease jump to mind. And I suppose the thinking is that because children are too young to understand the longer term implications of their dietary habits, that it's up to parents to monitor and regulate what their children consume. And in principle, I absolutely agree that it's up to parents to monitor and regulate what their children consume. Absolutely, I agree with that. However, I can't see it as abuse to let your kid get fat. Um, because that puts a value judgment on being overweight that I don't think needs to be there. Because the longer term health problems of being overweight your whole life, the overall result of that will probably be a shortened lifespan. People who are fat throughout their whole lives often start dropping dead between their sort of mid 50s and late 60s. Whereas people who are more physically fit throughout their whole lives, barring accident or injury, tend to drop off between their sort of early 70s to mid 80s. Okay? So by being fat your whole life, you're shaving anywhere between 10 and 25 years off of your lifespan. But here's my issue. If you're fat, but you like yourself, you like the people in your life, you're happy inside yourself, you like who you are, does it really matter if you only live to be 60? If you were happy for those 60 years? Isn't life about being happy more so than it is about being healthy? Yes, of course, your body image can affect your happiness. Absolutely, it can. But most of that is up here. You can be totally unhappy with yourself and be physically fit. You can hate life and be physically fit. You can love life and be grotesquely obese. So these kind of value judgments on, whether or not someone should be allowed to be fat, I think are very badly misplaced, and I think are presuming that everyone has the same values when they obviously don't. Therefore, coming back to where I started, I don't think that in general it is a wise idea to remove kids for being obese from their parents, because I don't personally see it as um, abuse. But on a case-by-case basis, there may be occasions where it's necessary to remove kids from their parents for that reason. So I don't think that you can have it in completely black or white terms. But in general, I think it would be pretty difficult to persuade me that a kid is better off being removed from its parents if the kid is not unhappy. That's just my opinion. What's yours? I look forward to a robust discussion in the comments section down below. And in the meantime, I want to thank you all for watching this video. And until next time, may all your ups and downs be ups.